No right-hand turns, no draft, no option tire, just a good old-fashioned mile-and-a-half motor speedway. Ryan Stevens from wintherace.info joins me to talk Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Christopher Bell looks to be the first NASCAR Cup Series driver since Jimmy Johnson 18 years ago to win 4 Cup races in a row. He's going to a good track for him too. Led 155 laps and finished second here at Vegas last fall, but blew a tire early, spun out in the spring race. Kind of two very different Las Vegas experiences last year for Christopher Bell. Which version of Bell do you expect us to see on Sunday, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty incredible. I feel like our shows here soon are going to be pretty short. It'll be, hey, who do you like this week? Christopher Bell. All right, hit the music. I'll see you next week. And then, but Bell, I mean, I think we'll see this version of Bell. I mean, he has no weaknesses like we've talked about the past couple weeks. You want to start with good track position here, and you mentioned he, qualified in the pole last time, led over 100 laps, 150 laps. If we look at his qualifying results on this track type in this package in 2023 and 24. I just looked at Vegas, Darlington, Michigan, Homestead, Nashville, Texas, Charlotte. Not that I'd comp all these tracks to Las Vegas, but just something to get a little larger sample size of how he shows up to qualify in this package. So in 18 qualifying runs, he's won the pole 39% of the times.
Wow.
So at a track where you want to start up front and get that clean air, I think you can expect him to do that. The next best has won the pole 11% of the time. So there is a large gap here. Bell has shown up fast for qualifying, and once you have that clean air, he's fast out front too. So yeah, I think we'll see that version of Bell.
I'm glad you brought up qualifying because I looked this up. 3 of the last 4 Las Vegas winners have started on the front row. The outlier was Christopher Bell last fall, who won the pole and lost on a fuel mileage race. But Byron, Larson, twice, I believe, 23 and 24, have won this race from the front row. So qualifying is extremely important. What does the qualifying data say about this weekend?
So there's a couple things qualifying, but then the other thing that can help you stay up front would be being fast on your 4-tire pit stops. You mentioned Byron and Larson. I'm glad you did. Byron and Larson are inside the top 5 in average qualifying position, just right up there with Bell. They don't have all the poles that Bell does, but they're up there qualifying in the front. Coincidentally, they are both top 5 in my 4-tire stop ranks this year. So their pit crews are incredibly fast again. They were last year too. HMS, typically all 4 teams are very fast in the pits. But that's something that I like to see because you start with that track position, you want to maintain it, or if you're not on the front row, maybe you're a little bit behind it, maybe you can gain a couple positions and get that clean air out front.
Great point. Great point. We haven't raced at a traditional intermediate yet this season. So going back to last year, who were the mile-and-a-half guys? I think of Reddick and Larson going 1-2 at Vegas last spring. I think about Larson in that race, also dominant. I mean, he swept the stages. I think of Kyle Larson. I think of Tyler Reddick. We've mentioned William Byron. I mean, who else? Who are the best intermediate racers in Cup if you look at last season?
If we look at 2024, there's a tier of 4 drivers who are clearly above the rest. You mentioned Larson and Reddick. And then in the same tier as them, in this top tier, in my true performance scores on Win the Race, I had Hamlin and Bell with them as well.
Of course.
That group of 4 won 9 of the 17 races. So It seems to check out. They were also 4 of the top 5 in incident adjusted speed, something that we really like to look at just to make sure these wins aren't fluky and these fast guys are winning the races. The 5th person who snuck in there in 4th place was William Byron. So I'd say, there's a tier of 4 and William Byron's right there. Another great qualifier too, like we talked about.
Interesting. Well, we've talked about some of the heavy hitters. I want to talk about 2 drivers that are struggling right now. A past champion, Brad Keselowski, is 33rd in points 4 races in. And Ty Gibbs, it's not a sophomore slump. It's a junior year jinx, maybe. I just made that up on the spot. I don't know if I like it yet. The trademark is not pending. 34th in points for Ty Gibbs. It's been a struggle for Ty. Out of those 2, who is most likely to maybe turn their season around this weekend at Las Vegas?
I'd like to give a quick shout out to Daniel Cespedes. He posted a bunch of good data, graphs, things, all NASCAR stuff on X. But he posted that this is the worst 9-race stretch in JGR history as far as average finish goes.
Wow.
I just thought that was a little crazy for Ty. Even with that being the case, I'd have to go with Gibbs here. In that qualifying sample set, he's starting about 7 spots higher than Keselowski on average. And then if we look at all the data, true average running position, the incident adjusted speed that I mentioned, basically everything outside of average finish, Gibbs has Keselowski crushed. It's just these weird finishes, whether they're his fault or not. And that's why, Kez is winning in the average finish, but I really think this is a great spot for Ty Gibbs to bounce back this week.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, Ty struggled much of the day at Phoenix, but he worked his way up into the top 15, I believe, before the brakes blew on him. So if they can avoid those issues, the speed is there. We know Ty Gibbs has the talent. It's just been going back to last year, been a rough couple of months. We'll wrap up with this, Ryan. I'd like to pick out an underdog, someone who might be flying under the radar a bit, who has a great chance to contend with those heavy hitters for the victory, or at least a top 5. A guy that stands out to me, he's had a quietly solid start to the year, is Chris Buescher. He's not leading laps. He's not even really running up front, hasn't earned a ton of stage points, but Chris Buescher has 3 top 10s in the first 4 races this year. And remember, his last Cup Series win came at a somewhat similar intermediate, Darlington, last spring. Was close to winning Kansas early last year as well. So my pick would be Chris Buescher, but who would be your kind of mild sleeper pick, if you will?
Yeah, I don't mind the Buescher pick, man. He's a guy that's just always there at the end of races. He finds a way, and that car gets stronger as the races go on. I'll go a little bit different, just so we can talk about 2 different guys here. I'll go with Chase Briscoe. And again, this isn't like a super long shot, more in like that Buescher type range. I think Vegas is like, if a winner's going to come outside of those main, 5 we talked about, it's probably in this range, not like going a little further down the list type of winner. But in the 2 of the 3 spring qualifiers here at Vegas, Briscoe was able to qualify 4th and 6th in Stewart-Haas equipment. So that's something that I like to see here. And that's at a track that's not been great for Stewart-Haas in the Cup Series during that time. And I know Briscoe's not Hall of Famer, Martin Truex Jr., but he's in that ride now. It was top 8 in qualifying in that sample set I mentioned, and won the pole twice. Now, that was Truex, not Briscoe, but Briscoe, I already said, can qualify here. We talked about the track position. So, yeah, I mean, it's a track that Briscoe absolutely crushed in the Xfinity Series. And again, it's a small sample size. But with Byron Larson, I mentioned earlier, the 19 team, top 5 and 4 tire stops through the races I've tracked this year. Wow. So, again, this track position thing that we're talking about, but now you put him in a fast JGR car, and we mentioned how great Bell's been here and all these guys. So, yeah, I would say give me Briscoe for like that mid-range sleeper.
I like that. I mean, we talked about it. You had 3 Toyotas in your top 4 at intermediates last year, and James Small seems to have that pit crew whipped into shape the first few weeks of this year. So Chase Briscoe, I had faith in him at Phoenix. He let me down, but Las Vegas might be more in his wheelhouse. I did not know he had qualified so well here in Stewart-Haas equipment. That is surprising. Ryan, thank you so much for joining the show. Fans watching at home, if you want to hear more great stats, more analysis, analytics for fantasy betting and more, head to wintherace.info. Ryan and his group over there do incredible work. Ryan, it's always great to talk to you. Thanks for stopping by this morning, and have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Enjoy the race.